Hello everybody. So, my name is Dr. Talib Al. I've got a PhD from the University of Bath in political science, and I will tell you in this video basically the story of how AI is the future of knowledge and why knowledge is power. This is the story of why I wanted to start an AI company, having come from somebody who's doing a PhD in politics. Now I will keep it simple, and I don't want to bore you. So I'm hoping that this channel will help you kind of understand why AI is the future, and perhaps you'll be able to see why you should be implementing more AI in your life and you should be learning more about it. The concept is actually quite simple. It's that we can use machine learning, which is a form of AI, as a knowledge acquisition tool, and knowledge is power, knowledge is money. Now, the question is, how do we actually do that? What is the mechanism, and how do we um, make a product out of it? How do we make money out of this? How do we make an impact out of this? And this is the journey of BrainBridge as a company that I'm trying to share with you, and hopefully you'll be able to join me later in the future, and you'll see the progress that we're making. So far we've been making some good progress, and I will keep you updated as the time goes. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'd be more than happy to answer them or even make videos on them. But just bear with me in this video or the next few videos for you to get a better understanding of what we're doing, and I promise you, you will not regret it. So, long story short, is that I was doing a PhD. I was analyzing the rhetoric, the speeches of certain um, terrorists. So at the first stage, I analyzed the speeches of a guy called Abu Mus'ab al-Zarqawi, who is basically the godfather of ISIS. He started in Iraq in 2003 after the American invasion of the country, and he caused chaos in the country. Many thousands of people died, a lot of sectarian violence. It was very ugly. So once I did my research, I wrote a paper on this as part of my PhD, and I did that manually using a program called NVivo, where basically you go through the documents as PDFs, you put them on NVivo, and you kind of code them, you put your marks on NVivo and stuff like this, without getting too much into detail. So what I wanted after analyzing Al-Zarqawi is that I thought, well, I could do the same with ISIS. ISIS had a newsletter called Al-Naba, and I wanted to do that with ISIS. The problem is that that newsletter had more than 300 issues, so thousands upon thousands of pages. And studying them, analyzing them manually was pretty much impossible, considering how lazy I am. So I like to be productive. I don't like to spend a lot of time and effort doing something if I think there's a better way of doing it. So what I started doing is I start going out and reaching out for friends and asking them, is there a way to do this? Basically, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to analyze the rhetoric of ISIS, and the point was to see how does ISIS view certain minorities, certain groups, and the ultimate question was, in which way does ISIS talk? How do they frame their rhetoric in order to mobilize, to get more people to join them, to get more supporters, maybe to get more money wired to them online? They have various ways of doing it. So I contacted a few friends, and one of them told me, well, we can actually do topic modeling. So I had to ask him about what is topic modeling. I had to do some research and understand how that works. And one thing led to another with this friend. He put me in touch with another one of his friends, and we actually managed to do it. So the other guy, he was doing a PhD at the University of Göttingen in Germany, and we collaborated together along with my friend that I told you about and my supervisor, and we actually managed to analyze ISIS rhetoric using machine learning topic modeling, And what we did is, after we conducted the topic modeling, we actually tried to think, well, okay, well, we now have a very good idea of how does ISIS think of other minorities, and how do they associate these minorities with threat. So theoretically, the theoretical framework of my research is based on the concept that ISIS would, or terrorists in general, what they do is they choose an out group and they associate that out group with an in group. So they are a representative of the in group. So in the case of ISIS, they see themselves as the representatives of Sunni Muslims worldwide. The out group for them is pretty much anybody else. And the way to incentivize people, to mobilize them to join ISIS, to join their cause, is to say, well, okay, we have this out group, and these out groups constitute a threat to our in group. These threats can come in two kinds. I will talk to them about them later in a later video, hopefully. But these kinds are basically symbolic or realistic threats. So realistic threats are something like money or land. Symbolic threats are something like culture, something that has to do with culture or religion or customs. Okay, so we did that. We had a very good idea of how ISIS think of these concepts, and how the way they portray minorities or other groups change over time. And then what we did, we thought, well, okay, we have a very good idea now of what does ISIS do in order to mobilize people. Well, let's see if we can actually find a correlation between the way ISIS view these groups and actual attacks on the ground. So we looked for a database, and we found a database from a famous database in Sweden, from Uppsala University. And what we did is we tried to find if there's a correlation, and we actually found a pretty strong correlation for some of the topics, not all of them. One of them had a correlation of about 0.8, which is pretty much amazing. Anyway, we somewhat proved theoretically that we can actually use this method, this technique, in anticipating or somewhat predicting ISIS attacks on the ground. Okay, so this is the long story short. In the future, perhaps I'll be more concise about it. Let me know what you think. But in any way, once I finished my PhD, I thought, okay, well, this idea is obviously quite useful. If we can use machine learning, if we can bring large data from the internet, and we can use machine learning to extract information out of this data, then I can see huge potential in this. I mean, if you're a hedge fund manager, for example, and if you know the market, if you can anticipate the market 5-10% better than the next guy, then that's going to be worth billions for you, right? And if you're a country, you would like to know what other countries think of you. You would like maybe to anticipate geopolitical risk. Maybe you're a country that's worried more about civil unrest or terrorist attacks or other countries invading you. All this can actually be done using machine learning with the existence of large data that is quite abundant on the internet right now. So that was the root, that was the seed that was planted in my head in order to start BrainBridge Solutions as a company. And so far we have been trying to make progress. We have made little incremental progress with time. The journey is not easy at all. Anybody who says otherwise is lying to you. But hopefully I'll be sharing this with you as well in the future. But we have made some progress. We have actually been shortlisted for the Defense and Security Accelerator, which is like the equivalent of DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Program in the United States, which is a very prestigious program. So we were shortlisted for that, but unfortunately we didn't get the funding. And we've been trying other ways. Now we are making a demo. We're making software basically, where people can do topic modeling and sentiment analysis on their own data. The hope is that we want to show people the potential, the power of AI as a knowledge acquisition tool, and we have only just started. So let me know what you think about this. I will make more videos in the future, and see you soon. Thanks for tuning in.